Hey boys and girls, how are you doing today? I've really missed seeing you, and I didn't want you to be left out of getting to do experiments while you were at home. Unfortunately, this is not the best way to do it, but it's the best I could come up with. So let's get started. Our next unit is going to be on the water cycle, and I know that you have been working on that for a long time. But I wanted to do a little experiment to kind of walk you through those 4 steps of the water cycle. The first step, of course, is evaporation, when water vapor gets heated up by the sun and turns in, Guys, I'm glad you're here today. I've really missed seeing you in class, but I didn't want you to miss out on an opportunity to get to be involved in a lab. And so I'm going to do this one for you at home so you can see the results of the water cycle. Now, of course, this is a model, but I want you to use your imagination and think about what it would be like in real life. So we're going to start off by talking about the 4 steps of the water cycle. The first step is evaporation. Evaporation is when the oceans and lakes and streams and rivers and puddles and large bodies of water gets heated up by the sun and turns into water vapor. That water vapor then moves up into the sky for the second step, and they start collecting. As they move up into the atmosphere, they start to cool down. And when they cool down, they form clouds. After those clouds have gotten so full and they have been moved by the wind over different parts of our earth, then they keep adding water vapor until they are too full. When they're too full, then all that water vapor turns back into it starts falling out of the clouds, turns back to liquid water in the form of either some kind of precipitation. It could be rain, it could be fog, it could be snow, sleet, ice, or hail. And then after it falls down to the earth, it could go back into the oceans, or it could get collected, which is our 4th step in our water cycle, back in an ocean, lake, stream, river, or pond. After that, it could go anywhere. Sometimes there's too much rainwater and it goes and floods. And when it floods, then we get runoff. Runoff is when the earth cannot take any more water. And so it flows off either back into the ocean if it's close, back into a pond or a river, lake, or stream, or it gets absorbed into the earth and goes down into our groundwater. So let's take a look at our first experiment. I have a bowl. I have a pitcher that's filled with nice blue water to represent our oceans. I've got a little clear bowl, smaller clear bowl. I've got a rock. And I have some saran wrap. And so with this experiment, we're going to be able to see all 4 steps of the water cycle with evaporation, condensation, precipitation, and then collection again. So let's get started. We're going to start off by taking our small bowl and putting it down into our larger bowl. Now I went ahead and used a glass bowl so you could see what it looked like. So we're going to add some water around our small bowl. And I've gone ahead and dyed this with blue food coloring. You could do this at home if you wanted to. And we're going to fill it up till it's just a little bit lower than our bowl here. Okay, now to model the water cycle, what are we going to have to do? Well, we have to get our water to heat up. And so we're going to help that process along a little bit. We're going to add some saran wrap over our bowl of water with our small bowl inside. And then we're going to set it outside and we're going to let it heat it up. So I'm sure you're wondering, what was the rock for? Well, the rock is going to hold down our saran wrap. It's also going to give a target to where our bowl is underneath. As it presses down on this saran wrap, the water particles, because it's going to be lower than the rest of our saran wrap, the water particles are going to naturally accumulate or collect into our bowl. And then we're going to be able to see that water cycle in process. We'll see the liquid water turn into a gas as water vapor. And then we're going to see the clouds that have formed that are going to dump that back into the bowl as clean, clear water with no salt added. And you'll